Hello everybody, it's Deb from Fresh Nest Design. I'm here today. I'm working on a fall wreath for my front door. And I just wanted to show you guys how you could do that as well. It's really, really easy. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to be standing. I kind of wanted to do a close-up on how I'm going to make the wreath step by step so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. When you do your wreath, let me hold this up here, you're going to want to keep everything in the same direction all the way around, otherwise it's going to look really funny. So since the leaves are pointed in this direction, you're going to want to continue that all the way down the wreath. You can also do, if you want the same continuous design, so like you could take the leaves and go all the way around and put your little accent pieces in between. Or if you want, you can do little clusters around the wreath and leave a little bit of space in between. It's really just a personal preference and what you want to do. I think what I'm going to try to do for this wreath is do like 3 clusters. When you're doing design, it's better if you work in odd numbers usually because it is visually appealing. So I think I'm going to keep it to 3 clusters with a small space in between each design. So they'll all be very similarly designed. You want the feel of it to be continuous all the way throughout. So like I said, I went ahead and I got started on my first one. I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit to finalize this batch, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. But really, it's all about the glue. You want to use a lot of glue when you're doing this. I'm going to turn this a little bit and hopefully you can still see. Basically, it's about layering. So you're gonna, when you start out, you're gonna start with your bottommost layer, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit more. I guess I'm doing this a little bit backwards, but hopefully by the end of the video you kind of get the idea. But I want to add these gold pieces here towards the end, and I'm going to add a leaf first. So what I do is take my leaf, find one that I want, and just cut it off. You want to leave a little bit of edging. Do you see that? So you're able to adhere the glue to it a little bit. And then you're going to get in here in the wreath. You're going to put a lot of glue. Well, not a lot, but I don't know, probably a pea-sized amount of glue. And then I stick my leaf on top of that glue, and then I put a little bit more glue even on top of that. So it kind of is sandwiched in between the glue there. And then I just press everything down on top of it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to layer these yellow pretty flowers, which we don't really know what they are, but I'm hoping maybe one of you can tell us. I'm going to do the same thing. Put the glue down, and I'm going to wedge this in between the wood twigs a little bit, and then put more glue on top. On that one I use more than a pea-size amount since it's a bigger item, so I probably use like a dime size. So voila, there you go. So I'm going to mimic this throughout on my next set. So I'm going to cut quite a few leaves off. And as you can see, I have a little pile right here ready to go. And there's really no rhyme or reason to how you put things on. You just want it to be layered well and look nice. So those are really the main goals. So as you can see, I'm going to put glue here. Put your leaf. You can see that. This is the first one. It's probably, you're going to kind of have to wedge it in between the twigs there. If you're working with a foam wreath, obviously you're going to be using a little bit of glue. If you work with a foam wreath, it will melt that wreath a little bit, so you'll just have to be quick in getting your items on. And as you can see, I'm not great with the glue gun. I burn myself a lot. So it's just part of it. And once I get a few of these on, like I'm going to be building off on top of these, I'm going to glue maybe a little bit of it down to secure it a little bit better. I don't want to secure the whole thing because I do want it to be flimsy and look natural. So you don't want to adhere everything down because then it will look like you glued it on, and that's really not the look you're going for. So you want it to try to look as fluid as possible. The leaves are your biggest part, so you always want to start with your biggest thing and then kind of build off top of that. So as you can see, I added the leaves, and then I added the little yellow flower, and then the pine cone. So you kind of add those accent pieces. I add them a little bit as I go, but mainly towards the end, because it's really important for the bigger items to be placed first. So when it comes to the twigs, like I was talking about, see how these have 3 on them? I use my wire cutters to cut these down. So I have 3 different sets of berries. And then I also cut these green leaves off so that I can use them as accent pieces. Like here, you see how I've used the green leaves here and here. I've just kind of put them all throughout. It kind of helps offset that. I'm wishing that I got a little bit more green or something to contrast with these colors. But then again, that's something I could have always add later. Also, I have a black door, so that provides a little bit of contrast. So far, so good. So I've got one more, and we'll see how it looks. I was telling you earlier, I did, the wreath was $4. It was half off though, so it was $2 in the end. And then all the foliage and berries, those were also half off. So I think everything in total was around $17, which is cheaper than I could find a wreath for. Plus, it's a lot more fun to make it yourself. Okay, so voila! Here is the fall wreath. And it only took probably about, I don't know how long I've been recording here, but probably like 20 minutes. So, really easy project. So go do your fall wreath and have fun.